Hey everyone, it's Travis, the Pagan Scholar, here with another episode of Poetry and Tarot. Today we're going to be discussing Judgment. But before we get into that, as is going to be the pattern of all of these videos, I'm going to be drinking Ravage, a Cabernet Sauvignon, vintage 2014. So let's talk about some poetry and tarot cards. So a better title for this video would probably be Never Let a Philosophy Major Read Your Tarot Cards. When this was just like a thought in my head whenever I was putting together the ideas for this video, I was thinking Judgment is a really shitty card. I really dislike it because it has a very heavy Abrahamic bent to it, and questions of judgment are very complicated whenever you think about it philosophically. So let's go with the standard textbook interpretation, and then I'll tell you my interpretation, and then I will read you, oh shit, how do you pronounce her name? Wisława Szymborska. Don't worry, there's a link to the page where the poem is in the description, but yes, a poet from Poland. She is I'm actually not very familiar with her work, but the poem Life While You Wait is phenomenal, and it embodies my perspective of judgment. Probably not the typical standard interpretation, but we'll get to that. Alright, again, using Tarot for Writers, and also some notes that I picked up off the internet. Generally speaking, the Judgment card symbolizes a willingness to be judged on one's own merits. That's kind of it. However, get my notes. A willingness to be judged, amazement, adoration, awakening, epiphany, and absolution. These are loaded things, and I mean, all of the interpretations that I read had a very positive spin on Judgment. I do not view Judgment as positive. So, well, it can be. We'll get to that. First off, we've got the Rider-Waite deck. It should be up here, I hope. Alright. So the Rider-Waite deck, we have one of the archangels with the trumpet and all of these people rising up from the grave in adoration. I don't buy into that. As a pagan, I don't buy into the Abrahamic atonement, to the idea that we are judged by some all-knowing entity. So Judgment is a two-part question. It's a two-fold idea. There's the question of evil, and there's the question of suffering. Evil is something that permeates the world. It's something that is outside of us, and it afflicts us. Suffering, on the other hand, is something that we experience. It's something that we live through, and it's something that shapes us and determines how we will react to things. The Abrahamic idea of judgment, that if we do X, Y, and Z in the correct order, then we don't have to worry, or we do need to worry. But as pagans, where are we placing judgment? Where are we allowing judgment to come upon us and say, this is good, this is bad, you're living correctly, you're living incorrectly? That's my hang-up. I don't want some outside source to say, good job, Travis, or shouldn't have done that. I want that judgment to come from within. I want to be a moral individual that says, I am aware of my actions, and thus I will behave in a certain way. If we look at the Night Sun tarot deck, Judgment, it's a little bit more Eastern, as they are wont to do in this deck. There's still an angel, a very Anglo-Saxon angel. However, we've got three figures that are turning blue, and I looked up why Hindu deities are typically considered blue, and on some website it said that blue is the color of expansiveness and all-inclusiveness. The sky and the sea are blue. It's beyond comprehension. So that means it's deifying oneself. And they're all connecting to this central blooming flower. So it's a bit more an idea of enlightenment as opposed to judgment, which that's good. We can work with that, at least here at Pagan Scholar. And then finally, there's the Fantasy Tarot deck, and this is my favorite Judgment card. It's these individuals rising from flower blossoms, and it's more of a reincarnation idea. So we go from Salvation and Judgment with the Rider-Waite, Enlightenment with the Night Sun, and Reincarnation with the Fantasy Tarot deck. These are all themes of redemption, of atonement. That's a very strong, loaded word, especially for Mormons, or well, for Christians in general. Again, it begs the question, where are we seeking validation? Are we going to seek blame or authority or hope or all of these very integral questions of the future and how we view ourselves in this cosmic scheme of things? Are we viewing that outside of ourselves? Are we assigning a deity to grant us salvation or to judge us, or are we finding it within ourselves? And how do we deal with that juxtaposition of it can't be outside, it always has to be within. It has to be something that we deal with on a personal basis every single day of our lives. I told you, you should never let a philosophy major read your tarot cards because you're going to get some hard answers. However, to enlighten you on my train of thought that led me to these interpretations of this tarot card, I wanted to read you Life While You Wait. Life while you wait. Performance without rehearsal. Body without alterations. Head without premeditation. I know nothing of the role I play. I only know it's mine. I can't exchange it. I have to guess on the spot just what this play's all about. Ill prepared for the privilege of living. I can barely keep up with the pace that the action demands. I improvise, although I loathe improvisation. I trip at every step over my own ignorance. I can't conceal my hayseed manners. My instincts are for happy histrionics. Stage fright makes excuses for me, which humiliate me more. Extenuating circumstances strike me as cruel. Words and impulses you can't take back. Stars you'll never get counted. Your character, like a raincoat you button on the run, the pitiful results of all this unexpectedness. If only I could just rehearse one Wednesday in advance, or repeat a single Thursday that has passed. But here comes Friday with a script I haven't seen. Is it fair, I ask, my voice a little hoarse since I couldn't even clear my throat off stage? You'd be wrong to think it's just a slapdash quiz taken in makeshift accommodations. Oh no. I'm standing on the set and I see how strong it is. The props are surprisingly precise. The machine rotating the stage has been around even longer. The farthest galaxies have turned on. Oh no, there's no question. This must be the premiere. And whatever I do will become forever what I've done. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Life While You Wait. To discuss the poem a little bit, obviously we're talking about life and theater. She's using theater as a metaphor for life. And as if this actor is unprepared for the role that they are playing, it's suddenly like, go, go, go. You don't even get to clear your throat. It's like, once you've done it, it's done. So that is the metaphor that she is employing for life. I feel like this is something akin to my approach to the Judgment card in tarot, because it's not an external source that's going to judge you. It's not, I mean, there is the metaphor of audience and theater, but what we're really going with is it's all going to happen right now, and there's nothing else that you can blame because it's go, go, go. It's happening as we speak. It's happening right now. I mean, I get to edit this video, but I am making decisions and choices right now that I will have to judge myself. What's interesting, though, is this doesn't slap you in the face. This poem doesn't beat you down and say, doesn't it suck to be alive? It's so much more delicate than the Abrahamic God saying, like, nope, you did bad, you're going to hell. I know nothing of the role I play. I only know it's mine. I can't exchange it. There's no other standard, there's no other medium or rubric or watermark that you can use other than your own. I mean, nobody knows what it's like to live in your head but you. Ill prepared for the privilege of living. That's such just a fantastic and heavy line because aren't we all? We're all just so ill prepared, and you make a mistake and suddenly you just rack your brain. You're just like, why did I say that? I mean, it could be anything from just a casual conversation, but you beat yourself up over these judgments. I improvise, although I loathe improvisation. And again, like, don't we all? It's words and impulses you can't take back. Stars you'll never get counted. Ah, I mean, and then you've got the ideas of stars being the metaphor of this celestial thing that is so remarkably outside of humanity and so vastly incomprehensible, and you'll never get to count them. And that's just a fact of life. That's just something that's going to happen because we're ill prepared for the privilege of living. And it's this, but here comes Friday with a script I haven't seen. Again, like, we're bombarded with these situations, these micro moments where we can't really even begin to well, let me just clear my throat before I start. It's no, because this is life. While you wait, it's happening over and over again. And then I guess to wrap up the poem, whatever I do will become forever what I've done. That is a truth. If we're going to assign judgment, speaking of the tarot card again, to an outside idea, if we're going to link it to awakening, to epiphany, that's fine. However, we need to be aware of the fact that we are assigning it to an outside source that grants us epiphany, that grants us clarity and enlightenment and rebirth. What I think the more mature, or no, not more mature, but I think another perspective that one could take would be to understand that even though it is your fault, that life is happening as you wait, as you go, you don't have to assign judgment to an outside force. What you need to do is assign judgment within you, because you understand your motives, you understand your drives, your passions, all of these other things, but also you can kind of grant yourself forgiveness. You can grant yourself leniency because you understand what was happening in those moments. I don't disagree with the standard textbook interpretation of the Judgment card. I just offer this as another interpretation of judgment that we can turn it inwards. I mean, sure, just reverse it, just turn it upside down. But what we can do is we can start to understand judgment as how are we judging ourselves, and how are we understanding our actions, and how are we engaging with the world? Are we doing it authentically with like understanding our motives, doing shadow work, however you want to approach it? Or are you, kind of in denial and tossing off judgment and tossing off authenticity to an outside being, an outside force, an outside idea? Like, it could be God, it could be society, it could be culture. Those are real influences on your life, but when are you going to stand up and say, but these actions are mine, these choices are mine, and this is the only life that I have, so why am I going to deny it? I hope I didn't lose you. That was kind of all over the place, but that's how I engage with tarot in general, and that's how I engage with judgment. That's my awkward pagan scholar ex-Christian paradigm. Anyways, please, please, please leave your comments below. I love to read your take on tarot, on judgment, on please judge me. I am actually asking for an external source to grant me legitimacy to grow, but please, I loved reading your comments so much. And if you have any ideas for future videos, if you have a poem that you think would have been better, or yeah, please, please, I love reading poetry, so leave it below. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.